You cannot imagine how many people I see in the gym. There is a lot going on with the sound of the breath of the people in a gym space. If you are a professional athlete, a musician, or dancer, you might be aware of how you're using your breath for your art or sport. There are lots of things that have been done in the sports or art world that are not necessarily the best for that specific technique or that specific need or wish for the outcome that you're working towards. Since training your breathing muscles is something that is not being taught during most educations or training sessions, you have to be aware that the way your spine, pelvis, your hip flexors, your hips, your cervical spine, your rib cage functions is going to depend on how good you're breathing. And when I say how good you're breathing, I mean how efficient you're breathing. There are ways to use your muscles that are more efficient than others. So, for example, if you would stiff your joints and would start running like that, your running wouldn't be as efficient in comparison to if you allow your pelvis to shift in accordance to the spirals that are spiraling around the joints, or more to say, the way the ligaments connect to the joints are usually in a spirally rotation type of thing. The way the bones are being shaped is not aligned. It's also a slight rotation in the bones. There is a rotation in your muscles. It's not that your muscles are just aligned, attached to one area and then to the other. There are small and soft rotations within all our body parts. Nothing within you has not a rotation within or at the beginning or the end or in between. The way you breathe is similarly misunderstood. Most of us think that we breathe through our face, but we are not breathing through our face. We are breathing inside of what is invisible to the eye, everything that's happening behind our periphery. So if I want to speak about how the air moves into the body, there are different perspectives we can take, but let's say the most conventional one would be for the air to move into the nostrils and then start to move into your face. Not up into the nostrils, but into the face. Because the cavity of the nose, and you only see 30% on the outside, 70% of your nose moves horizontally, not diagonally up, and also not vertically up, horizontally into your face. So if we understand the structures and the rotations and the entrances and exits of not only the bones and the muscles, blood vessels and molecules, and the way the body exchanges information and energies, means motions, we can start to understand our body in a different way. The shape of your ribcage is round. And now, whilst I'm talking, I want you to touch your ribcage. So the ribcage is going to start here at your collarbone and is going to end. I'm not going to show you my secret bag. It's going to end in this area, right? And if you move the hands to the upper area, you'll feel that the end of your collarbone has an opening. And then the ribcage is going to continue to close up the backside of your back. And you want to be able, if you touch yourself now with your thumb, and you let's start moving more around the lower front and lower back part of your rib cage. I want you to sense the spine and then move your thumbs to the front, waking up the neurophysiological connection by touching your body and then sensing. Again, it's a lot of sensation involved because I want it to be very sensitive. It's more because otherwise it's very hard to access them. Even though we think to know it, it's very hard to access them. So one way to warm up your breathing awareness is biochemically through breathing exercises I'll show you today, because I promised you that I would show you something. Another way is to check your biomechanics, and to understand your biomechanics, it's good to move into the touch. So you continue to touch the ribs. We usually have 12 ribs on the right side, 12 ribs on the left side. I'm saying it in case you don't count them on a daily basis. And then if I would pull my rib cage your direction, let's say you're the pelvis and I'm the rib cage, then the pelvis, you, is going to look into my rib cage, and you have the diaphragm attaching along the rib bones. And then also, if I again put it this way, and now you're looking in front, on the front of the rib cage, a connection, an attachment of, and I'm going to show you pictures next time, okay, of the diaphragm muscle to the lumbar spine. The diaphragm is an arch-shaped muscle that is pretty complex, and you have one side that is a bit stronger and one that is a bit weaker, maybe because one side is a bit bigger and one side is a bit smaller. Why? Because we have the heart on the left side. If you now try to inhale into your rib cage and open up your lungs, you'll probably be sensing that one side is a bit more dominant in your sensation. And I want you to research which side is bigger and which side is smaller. If I tell you, you will forget it. We are more likely to remember something when we research it. So check diaphragm on Google or ChatGPT. Which side of my diaphragm is bigger, the left or the right side? We're going to speak about that next time. What you want to do is touch your ribs before training, even though people might look at you like you're crazy. Actually, one thing that is really good to do doesn't matter if you're a musician, a dancer, or an athlete, is to touch your body before training, like you're washing your muscles and your skin, for it to be more relaxed in the tissues, but also to work healthier. And you can do that before and after training, but definitely before and also after waking up. You're going to sit down once you are waiting for the next training session or the next rehearsal, and you want to inhale and sense how during inhalation the diaphragm is contracting and it's pushing the organs down. During inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and pushes the organs down. Exhalation, feeling how the diaphragm is moving back up towards the heart and relaxes completely. Inhalation, feeling how the diaphragm is tensing and contracting, not tensing, it's contracting, and therefore pushing the ribs to the sides, to the back, to the front, and then relaxing to move and release, to move up towards the heart. During inhalation, the rib cage opens three-dimensionally, specifically to the back and to the sides. If you're a human being and an athlete, you have to breathe into the back and the sides. I'm going to explain in the next video why. And during exhalation, the rib cage relaxes and closes back while the diaphragm moves towards the heart. Stay tuned and check the next video.